Nina Taylor exhaled softly as she settled into her window seat in row 14 of the packed Airbus A320. She had chosen it deliberately, paying extra for the comfort of the view and the peace it offered. The window was her sanctuary, a slice of serenity amidst the chaos of modern air travel. With a long flight ahead, she had come prepared. A new novel, noise-canceling headphones, and one simple expectation: to be left alone. The cabin buzzed with the final shuffle of boarding passengers. Overhead compartments slammed, flight attendants moved swiftly, and standard pre-flight announcements crackled over the intercom. Nina buckled her seatbelt and thumbed through the opening pages of her book, tuning out the surrounding hum. She barely noticed the father and daughter approaching until they stopped right next to her row. A firm voice cut through her concentration, not rude, but clearly expecting compliance. "Excuse me, I need you to move." Nina blinked up. The man standing before her was middle-aged, well-dressed, and visibly impatient. His salt and pepper hair was neatly styled, his luxury watch gleamed, and he carried himself like someone used to getting what he wanted without resistance. Beside him stood a little girl, no more than 6, clutching a stuffed bunny and fidgeting with the edge of her sweater. Nina looked from the man to the girl. "I'm sorry," he sighed, as if having to explain something obvious. "My daughter needs the window seat. She gets anxious during flights. I'd appreciate it if you could switch." Nina raised her brows. She glanced at the empty aisle seat next to her, and then back at him. "I paid for this seat," she said, politely but firmly. For a split second, the man, whose name she noted from the frequent flyer tag on his carry-on as Daniel Prescott, looked genuinely surprised. Then his face hardened. "She's a child," he repeated, slower now, as if Nina hadn't understood the first time. "Surely you understand." Nina did understand. She understood that a man wearing designer shoes and carrying a first-class leather briefcase had failed to plan ahead. She understood that he expected her to accommodate him without question. She understood that had she been someone else, younger, older, a different color, he might have spoken differently. "I understand," she said evenly, "but I still paid for this seat. If it mattered that much, you should have booked accordingly." Daniel's lips curled into a tight, humorless smile. "Unbelievable," he muttered louder now. "This is what's wrong with people today. No basic decency." His words were loud enough for other passengers to hear. A few heads turned. Some looked confused, others simply uncomfortable. Nina felt a wave of tension rise in her chest. She recognized the tactic: make a scene, cast her as the villain, guilt her into giving in. But before she could reply, a figure appeared beside them. The flight attendant, a woman in her late 40s with an impeccable navy uniform and sharp eyes, stepped up. Her name tag read Linda Carter. "Is there a problem here?" Linda asked, her voice calm but with an edge of authority. Before Nina could speak, Daniel jumped in. "Yes, this woman won't give up her seat for my daughter. She gets anxious, needs the window. This shouldn't be hard." Linda blinked, then turned to Nina. "Did you book this seat?" Nina nodded. "Yes." Linda turned back to Daniel. "Sir, she has the seat assigned to her." Daniel scoffed. "I'm aware. I'm asking you to help resolve the situation. Surely the airline cares about customer satisfaction." Linda took a breath. "Customer service doesn't include forcing a paying passenger to give up their seat." Daniel's face darkened. His voice rose slightly. "This isn't about rules. This is about decency, about kindness. She's a grown woman refusing to accommodate a little girl." Linda remained composed. "I understand, sir. I can check for other available window seats, but I will not ask another passenger to move from the seat she paid for." Daniel turned back to Nina, eyes narrowing. "You really won't move for a child?" Nina met his gaze. "I paid for this seat. I'm staying in it." He laughed bitterly and addressed the cabin. "Can you believe this? A grown woman refusing to switch with a 6-year-old." Murmurs spread. Some passengers looked away, not wanting to get involved. Others watched, curious to see how it would unfold. Nina gripped her book tighter. She felt the weight of the stairs, the unspoken pressure to give in, to be the bigger person. But why was it always her? Linda must have sensed it. She stepped a little closer to Nina. "Sir," she said, her voice dropping, "I'm going to ask you one last time. Take your assigned seat." Daniel's jaw clenched. He muttered something under his breath. Nina didn't catch the first part, but the last word rang loud enough. Typical. The temperature in the cabin dropped. Linda straightened. "I'd advise you to watch what you're implying." Then, from the row behind, a male passenger spoke up. She said she paid for her seat. Linda gave a slight nod, but kept her focus on Daniel. "Sir, please lower your voice." Daniel looked around, searching for support. "This is ridiculous. No one here thinks it's wrong to ask for kindness." A few passengers shifted uncomfortably, but no one backed him. "People are so selfish now," he continued. "So unwilling to help." Nina inhaled slowly. "I'm not selfish. I paid for this seat like everyone else. If it was important, you should have planned ahead." The man from behind nodded again. Daniel was fuming. "You have no shame, do you?" Across the aisle, a woman spoke up. "She's right. Seats aren't random. If you wanted the window, you should have booked it." Daniel turned to her, incredulous. "She's a child. I shouldn't have to plan around selfish people." Linda stepped in again. "Sir, please take your seat." Now, he wasn't ready to give up. He leaned toward Nina, his voice low. "You know what? Keep your seat. I wouldn't want my daughter sitting next to someone like you anyway." That was it. Linda's tone shifted. "Sir, come with me." Now, Daniel blinked. "What?" "Either return to your seat, or we'll involve the captain." For the first time, Daniel looked uncertain, but he still had one last card to play. "Funny," he said louder now. "I bet if the roles were reversed, this conversation would be very different." Linda didn't flinch. "Sir, I'm warning you. Take your seat, or you won't remain on this flight." Another flight attendant appeared. Tall, broad, name tag reading Marcus. "Is there an issue?" "Not yet," Linda replied. "But I was just explaining our options." The energy shifted again. Marcus wasn't just support. He was escalation. Daniel hesitated. Then finally, he muttered, "Fine," grabbed his daughter's hand, and walked down the aisle. A few people exhaled in relief. Linda turned to Nina. "I'm sorry about that." Nina nodded. "Not your fault. Let me know if he bothers you again." Nina settled back in, tension slowly releasing. Then a voice across the aisle. "You handled that well." Nina offered a faint smile. "Thanks." The woman nodded. Most people would have just moved. Nina didn't answer. She had thought about it. She really had. But she hadn't. And that mattered. She glanced toward Daniel's row. He sat rigid, jaw tight. His daughter stared at her lap, rabbit clutched tight. Nina felt a flicker of pity. Then Daniel turned, sneered, and mouthed something. She didn't hear it. Didn't need to. She turned back to the window. But then, Daniel stood up. "Sir," remained seated. A flight attendant said. He ignored them. Walked toward Nina. Linda saw him. Stiffened. He stopped at her row, leaned slightly forward. "You must be real proud of yourself. Pretending to be the victim. But we both know what this is." Nina didn't flinch, but her heart pounded. Linda's voice rang out. "Sir, step away now." Marcus returned. "If you don't return to your seat, we'll remove you." For a moment, Daniel hesitated, then turned. "You're unbelievable," he muttered. He returned to his seat, but then muttered something else, low, sharp. Linda heard it. Marcus heard it. "Captain," Marcus said into his radio. "We have a situation." The cabin froze. Whispered ripples spread. "Copy that," came the reply. "Hold him until ground staff arrives." Linda and Marcus approached. "Sir, collect your belongings." No response. "Sir, this is your final warning." Slowly, Daniel stood, his pride burning, his dignity unraveling. But he walked. Quietly. Passengers watched in silence. Linda turned to Nina. "You okay?" "I am," she said. And for the first time, she truly meant it. As they escorted Daniel off, someone across the aisle muttered, "About time." Nina just looked out the window. She wasn't proud. She wasn't triumphant. She was just tired. Tired of having to fight for something she had already earned. But she had stood her ground. And sometimes, that's enough. Because this story wasn't just about a seat. It was about respect. And how sometimes, The most powerful thing you can do is stay right where you are.